In this week's episode of Ask Kif, I'm covering the biggest mistake that most LLC owners make. It's one that unintentionally pokes a ton of holes in your fence and means that your LLC status is only a piece of paper and not what you actually intended it to be. Hi, I'm Tiffany Staley, founder of The Artist JD, a place designed to add ease to the legalese of running your creative business. Today's question comes to us from Susan in Texas. She asks, does my business need to be financially self-sufficient before becoming an LLC? The short answer is no. There are many businesses who are LLCs from day one, before they have a penny of revenue coming in. And so those businesses aren't financially self-sufficient, and it's totally okay for them to be LLCs. There are other businesses that will operate for a while and then transition into an LLC structure. And for those businesses, also, they might not be making a ton of money. Remember, the reason we're creating that LLC is to put that fence up between our personal life and our business life. So while financial self-sufficiency isn't a requirement to put up that fence, what is a requirement is that we make sure that the LLC has enough money and equipment and those kinds of things in order to run day-to-day operations. When we create an LLC and we put up that fence, we create kind of a fake legal person. The LLC becomes its own legal entity. And because of that, we as the owners in the LLC need to give the LLC, need to invest in the LLC enough money and enough equipment to make sure that the LLC has enough to run day-to-day operations. So in our hat as owner of an LLC, or the legalese a member of an LLC, all we're entitled to are the profits of the business. And so if you become an LLC, you have to not treat it like your own personal piggy bank and take money out when you need it to pay your bills if the LLC doesn't have enough to pay its own bills. When that happens, there's the legalese term of piercing the corporate veil, or as I like to describe, we start punching holes in our fence and make it so that our LLC is just an expensive piece of paper and there really is no LLC status anymore. So there's two things you're going to do to make sure that you don't make this mistake. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you initially invest enough in your LLC. What do I mean by this? So if you already are running a business, you have a pretty good idea of what kind of expenses you have every month and what kind of income you're making every month. So what I would encourage you to do is figure out what your most expensive months are and your least income months are. So in your most expensive months, say it costs $5,000 to run your business. And in your least income months, say you are only making $3,000 in your business. So that's a $2,000 difference. So what you're going to do is take that $2,000 and multiply it either by 3 or 5. So 3 would be 6,000 and 5 would be 10,000. And you want to make sure by the time you transfer your existing bank accounts into the LLC's name that there is somewhere between the $6,000 and $10,000 in those accounts. And if there's not, you're going to take money out of your own personal accounts and make up the difference so that the LLC has enough money to run in your worst months. If you are having a brand new business, then what you're going to do is figure out what you think the monthly expenses are going to be, and then you're going to multiply that by 4 or 6. And you're going to invest that much into your business from day one. Because for those first few months, you're probably not going to be making much revenue whatsoever. And so you need to assume that you are having your high expenses and zero revenue coming in. So the first thing that you're going to do is make sure that you're investing enough in the LLC so that it can run in your worst months. The second thing you need to do is make sure you're only paying yourself from the profits of the business. So that means that we need to always keep that minimum of 3 months of worst months business operating expenses in our LLC's bank account. So we can only pay ourselves if our bank account is above that number. Now, once you get to a point where that's an established number, then I would encourage you to check out the book Profit First. It's something that's totally revolutionized my way about thinking about how I pay myself. And it kind of encourages you to, for every dollar in, take certain number of cents and put them into separate accounts to kind of assign them different jobs. Some money that comes in goes into your profit account, into your reinvestment in your business account. Some of it goes into your pay my taxes account. Some of that goes into your operating expenses, and some of that goes to being able to pay yourself. And if you follow this formula, your operating expenses are never more than 20 to 25% of the revenue coming in, so you're always going to have profits and always be able to pay yourself. So you're only going to be able to pay yourself if you've got that bare minimum in your accounts that the LLC needs in order to maintain operations. So you're only ever going to be able to pay yourself out of the LLC accounts if there's enough profits in those accounts, money above and beyond what's necessary for the LLC to conduct day-to-day operations. Curious what other things you should be doing to keep your LLC on the up and up? I've left a link to a free checklist below that I walk you through the one-time and ongoing tasks that are necessary to keep your LLC legit. If you want a little hand-holding as you go through this process, I've also left a link to a course I've put together that walks you step by step through how you're going to do each of these tasks and gives you templates and other tools and resources to make it really easy. Got a question you want me to cover in an upcoming episode? Make sure you leave it in the comments below. Before you go, hit that subscribe button so you can get notified each time a new episode of Ask Kif drops. I've also left a link to a playlist I've put together that includes all the Ask Kif episodes to talk about how to create and or keep your LLC on the up and up. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time.